Three, two, one. Welcome to the Hunters Hub, the video game podcast born of the Monster Hunter community. This is your host, Fortuan, joined tonight by Sasha. Welcome back. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. A lot of busy, a lot of packing. And I also, like I said before the show, moving 7,000 pounds of lumber. We got half done. Ish. Half done
Still
ish.
feeling tired.
Yeah. And welcome back, Ace. How you doing?
Just got back from a Target run, so, typical Saturday night.
Yeah, I never lived near a Target until I lived in Dayton. Never even seen one until I went to Dayton. And then
I got options.
And for the audience and just because I like saying it, this will be the last podcast in which you will be seeing this background, because next week, like, my moving day got moved up. So my closing date didn't get moved up, but my movie date, because the truck wasn't available on Friday, it's available on Thursday. So everything's going on Thursday. I've got my two bickering buck mates, actually all of them, because my brother lives with me, so he's not getting out of it. The other two bickering bucks, Brian and Jacob, are going to be helping me move, and they're making a road trip out of it. So yeah, we're just taking everything and going. I am not all the way packed, not even close. But part of that's tomorrow, part of that's, I did some of it today. Yeah, I'm taking a lot less than I thought I was too. Like, there's some stuff that I'm just leaving because it's my parents' house and I'll sort it out later. Like,
Yeah, there's still a lot of stuff at my parents' house.
Yeah, I feel very bad about it, but I don't know what else I'm going to do, because I'm certainly not taking a quarter of their toys. Like, I'm not... Like, I can't. So tonight we are going to be talking about licensed games. This was inspired by so this is Sasha's topic tonight, and this is inspired, as I understand, by Hogwarts Legacy, which I haven't played. I don't think you've played that yet, have you?
Nope, I don't intend to. Don't think Ace intends to play it either.
I am dancing on the edge of playing it, but it sounds like an open world game, which is not my thing. So maybe one day. Like, I'm not.
It seems like it's wizarding GTA with slightly anti-Semitic things in the background too.
Man.
I don't know.
So you should
if you want to term it as anti-Semitic.
So you should be like, it's wizarding GTA, but you're also a Nazi.
I don't understand where this is coming from. Harry Potter wasn't like that in the movies. I didn't read the books.
So spoilers, I guess, if you care about that. I don't. Essentially, it's like the goblin class of people.
The house elves?
Better. No, like the goblins for like Gringotts and things, that race of people. They want to be seen as like
the bankers.
Equal.
The bankers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bankers and stuff like that. So they want to be seen as, equal in the eyes of the wizarding world and stuff like that. But there's one member who resorts to violence to try and, attain those means. And with one review I read about it, there's a character who also wants the equality thing, but doesn't believe in the violence and only wants peaceful means. And because he gets like a card or something stolen by these supporters of the bad goblin, like sides more with the wizards and stuff like that. So there's just weird undertones of like, the banker class of people or like the merchant class of people with like pointy noses and whatnot being seen as less than.
No, I can't. I
And-
cannot follow that logic. It is a fantasy race of it is fantasy. No, it is. I see. This is where
it's
Pan.
weird parallels
Pan-
that people are drawing.
This is where Pan is
I
going to be
mainly
like
just-
orcs, because I had this problem with orcs in my articles where people were like comparing them to real people. It's like, no, they were never real people. They were orcs. That's all they ever were, was orcs in my context. Whether that was a thing when people made orcs in the 70s, that's their problem. That's not what orcs are now. Orcs are pig people or pig-ish
I'm just not
people.
getting it because of the whole anti-trans thing, and
Yeah,
literally- like mouthpiecing to advocate for
I mean,
unaliving and
that's
trying
what.
to make people not exist.
Yeah,
So-
but did the developers do that message? Like that's just the
The
author.
developers already got paid though,
Yeah, and they got paid for.
and she has said that she openly sees her support of her IP as support of her views.
Okay, but
So-
just because she says it doesn't make it true. She's
I'm
crazy.
just not gonna get it. That's
That-
all it is.
That woman cray. I wouldn't listen to anything she says. At this
She
point.
really,
Maybe
she really
so.
is unhinged because she says, yeah, that if you purchase, Harry Potter stuff, you buy into it, that you're supporting her and her messages. But then she also said recently that she doesn't care about her legacy and that she just, believes in what she believes, which, good for you. Believe in what you want to believe, but I fundamentally disagree with what you believe in, and if that means that I'm not gonna get any new licensed Harry Potter, then that's what that means. That's what fan fiction is for. That's what a used bookshop is for. So
Right. Well,
you
my point is, you're. I don't know how much of a hand she had in the production or anything of this game, right? Like, the people you hurt by boycotting a game are the people who made it most of the time, not the people who are endorsing it, not the people who funded it, not the people who, like,
I don't really care.
what
on
happens.
that deep a level. I'm just making the decision for myself not to get the game. Like months ago, there was a person on Twitter who, because I made a post being like, I just recommend not to get it.
Yeah.
That's my take. And some guy chimed in with slamming me for it, and I'm like, I'm just saying I'm not getting it, and I would say that people just shouldn't in general.
I mean,
If they do, it's what it is. I can't make the decision for people, and I don't necessarily look down on people for getting it. I just don't want it for myself.
yeah,
That's all it is.
I get it, and that's your personal decision, and I'm not going to go against that. I'm just saying that, in my opinion, boycotting a game 99 out of 100 times just hurts the developers. It doesn't in any way affect, most of the time, the offending people. There are games that, yes, you probably shouldn't play, because A, they're bad games, B, they actually have bad messages or whatnot, or C, they just don't work. But I don't know. I don't care enough about Harry Potter to really make a stand for this game. I don't. I never did. The only reason why I'm slightly interested in the game, it actually sounds decently fun from the people that I've talked to that have played it. And that's it. That's all. And my statement of me buying the game is not in any way for or against trans people, because in my opinion, it has nothing to do with trans people or Stephanie Myers or anything. Like,
J.K. Rowling.
I always call it Stephanie Myers. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I just hate her for her vampires. I have to remember who I hate for what. I hate Stephanie Myers for her vampires, and then I hate Rowling for her stupid basilisks.
I also hate her for the basilisk, but for a different reason. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, I did. No, you're right. It is Rowling. I always forget that. I only ever read the first book, anyways. The stuff was always too childish for me at the time. Like when it came out, I was in middle school, and that was like a supposedly the appropriate age. But I was already reading Drizzt books. I was already reading
Yeah.
R.A. Salvatore. You know,
Like, I have a vivid memory of setting aside a Christopher Pike book to read Harry Potter. And, like, Christopher Pike was talking about sex and drugs. And
yeah. I mean, like, yeah, the Salvatore book I remember reading when my cousin's a huge Harry Potter fan. She was like, "You got to read this, Jam," and I was like, "Yeah, I kind of don't like. I don't care about like it is, but you like this wizard crap," and I'm like, I mean, yeah, but this is wizard crap right here. Literally, this guy is taking over a whole like trying to take over the world because the sentient crystal is telling him to. And yeah, I was just explaining the plot of the crystal shard, and she was like, "Wow, that sounds really cool." I was like, "Yeah, what's your one doing?" And I'm going to really horribly summarize it for comedy here, but oh wait, so an owl told a kid to go to a secret school so he could figure out about a bad guy who drew a Z on his head? Like, I don't like, it doesn't sound very exciting to me.
well, I mean, like, you leave out the part where, like, he's starving under the stairs in his makeshift bedroom and he thinks he's nothing and he's been treated like he's nothing, and then he finds out that he's everything in this other world. Like,
Yeah, the ultimate
that's the
power trip.
enchanting part. Like,
Yeah, the ultimate power trip of Harry
He's
Potter.
the Chosimba one.
Chosimba.
I think it was a Onion article headline I saw. I think it was something along the lines of Church agrees that J.K. Rowling's views are finally bigoted enough for kids to start learning about witchcraft. And I just chuckled at that.
Yeah,
I was like, ooh.
I always thought
Ooh.
the whole anti Harry Potter stuff by religious people was dumb because it's pure fantasy. It's not even like the Wiccan stuff that people practice today. It's not even close to that. It's just literally made up magic. Literally made up.
It's
There's
not even. It's even progressed way past Harry Potter now, because I don't know if you remember, but there was like a couple months back where there was that mom in Texas who went on a local news channel and was saying that stuff can come through your TVs from like watching TV shows with like satanic or witchcraft.
oh yeah. When the Hocus Pocus
Satan and
movie
stuff like
came
that.
out, that's what they were
That's what it
saying.
was. Yeah.
When Hocus Pocus 2, that they were doing witchcraft when they were singing songs, and that like you can't let your kids watch it. I'm just like, whoa, what are they giving you guys every Sunday?
Yeah,
I was like,
some people never learned that TV and games and that kind of stuff are fantasy and not real things, right? Like, I think that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Some people just didn't learn that it's not real. So that being said, we're going to be talking about licensed games. I don't think we're going to have Harry Potter on this, but I think Harry Potter is what inspired this discussion. And then before we get into that, I have a little more to say on Wild Hearts. I really want to talk about it because I have a love-hate relationship with this game. Because it is... Let me lead off and say it is a buggy mess. And it is 100% EA's fault.
I was gonna say, is this the EA game?
Yes, it is. EA is the one running the online service and the servers, right? In this multiplayer game. If you sleep your system at any point, the only way to connect to another person on the game is to hard close the game and reopen it. So you should never sleep the game because you will never be able to play with someone else if you don't. Second of all, You can get disconnected randomly, and you can be just in the middle of a hunt. And so let's say, in comparison, right, if you DC lose an internet connection on something like, let's say, Monster Hunter, the direct competitor to this game during a hunt, what happens is you're kicked offline. The people are kicked. You're booted into a single player instance. Whatever you have set up for single player, that helper people come in the hunt, and you can finish the hunt, and you're just offline, and you have to go on and reconnect. Cool. You just have to do it by yourself. A little scary at times if you're not used to playing by yourself, but you don't lose the hunt. You don't lose any progress. You just appear right where you are, and you're good. In fact, it's seamless. The people pop out, and it has a message pop up. Hey, so and so left the room. So and so left the room, and then you see your buddies, and you're still fighting. Like, none of the gameplay stopped. There's an error message that pops up on this one. It says, disconnected from EA servers. You failed the hunt, and it kicks you back to town.
And does it count as like
Cool.
a fail in your? Does it track data?
I don't think
No.
it tracks fails, but it does mean you have lost everything. Let's say you've been fighting for 30 minutes. Not saying that you will be. Most of the things I've finished in like 10 or 15 at the most, even the really tough ones. But let's say you're 9 minutes into a 10-minute fight. You get nothing for it. You failed. Nothing happened.
Nice.
No. So there's that. It's also a buggy mess.
So wait, are you the PC version or console?
PS5 version.
Even on PS? Wow.
Yeah. So there's only a PC, a PS5, and an Xbox Series version. There's no Xbox One or PS4 version.
No, I
Yeah.
was just clarifying because usually it's always PC that has the issues with game launches, but for it to be on console, that's
It's all across the board.
severely bad.
Today or yesterday, my brother and my friend and I were playing together. They have a really weird lag composition system. So you're familiar with playing a game where you see stuttering because it's lagging or whatever, and you're behind. It's a very precision oriented game. So you know what it does? It slows down. We're not talking frame rate. It goes in slow motion if you're having issues. And in a game about
So it becomes
timing,
So it becomes like Zack Schneider film.
yeah, pretty much. And in a game about timing, it gets really jarring to be like, okay, I have to dodge. Nah, like
You're sleep fighting.
Yeah, it's like you're underwater. All of your movements, you were going like, yeah. Now you're like, yeah. And it's like, what on earth? This feels like I'm playing in mud. Holy cow. It's a weird. Now, here's the crazy thing. By doing that, you actually don't get like, oh, suddenly the monster's over here and hitting me. I didn't have any chance to dodge. No, you still get to do everything. You still see everything. It's just your brain has to adjust to slow motion out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Other bugs include so they have a boob and a butt slider for the character creation, which is fine. Whatever. Do your thing.
Nice.
If you increase it by any percent, which both my brother and my friend did, I am playing a male. I did not do any boob or butt sliding on my male. I just literally went with whatever's default. There's this bathhouse thing you can do. Not really that different. There's bathhouse things in Monster Hunter. It's a very Japanese thing. You're not like in a bikini or anything. You're just in like, I don't know, skin tight clothes. However, if you increase the butt or the boob size, they don't fit in the clothes anymore because they didn't size up the clothes. So You ever seen like a game where it clips into something and starts shaking wildly and then flies off or something like that? Yeah, that's what happens to your butt. We watched there. It was like hyper twerking. The two, we were just laughing about it for 10 minutes. Of
You should capture a clip of that somehow and
maybe I will. Maybe I will.
share that.
It was also happening to the boobs at one point because my friend increased his all the way just to be funny. And it was causing a lot of clipping issues. Yeah. So
Great.
I will say I'm not going to get into general impressions of the game too much, but I did that last week with Shaw and Chance was on the podcast. But I will say still enjoyable. I'm still playing it a lot. There's just a lot of bugs. There's a lot of bugs, and I will say I still hold the opinion of if you compare it directly to Monster Hunter in any fashion, Monster Hunter wins every time. Like,
I mean, most stuff does, yeah.
it's not even close. Like, you can pick a topic, like music. Okay, cool, music. Music's good in Wild Hearts, really good actually. Doesn't have monster themes.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. So you just hear the same battle theme all the time. It's good theme, but is it good 40 hours in?
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Monster Hunter has not every monster, but most monsters have a unique theme that plays when you're fighting them, and there's personality to the theme and that kind of stuff. It's stuff like that. It's stuff like, yeah, there's just a lot. So all that being said, I know neither of you two played. That was just me ranting. So let's get with the licensed game. Sasha, since it was your idea and your topic, let's start with you, and we'll just go round robin for.
Sure.
Now, do we want to do our so we're doing top three, and then we're doing a dishonorable mention. Where do we want to stick the dishonorable mention? At the beginning, in the middle, somewhere, or at the end?
I don't care.
It's your topic.
Let's do it. Let's do it right before we do the top one.
Okay. Kill the momentum. Cool. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, just kill it. Yeah, dead in its tracks.
All right.
Okay.
So number 3.
All right. So number 3 is more of a nostalgia pick for me.
Sure.
But I played these games heavily all through like elementary school and middle school, and then when I was in high school and I was a babysitter, I also played these games with the girl I babysat. So the games are the Nancy Drew games. They were point and click games that came out. I think they're still making them now.
I think I
probably played like.
You can see them at Walmart. They're one of the very few physical games at Walmart on PC still out there.
They're so much fun. Like I probably would play one now. Like they're really good. And I kind of can't wait for my kid to be old enough to be interested in it because I'm definitely going to play them with her.
Yeah.
But I remember when I played them, they were still like actually Nancy Drew books. So they were like a couple of the original stories. And then I think when I stopped playing them with the girl I was babysitting, they were all original stories. And a couple of them were a little spooky, I would say. I remember one of them was at like a carnival, and I remember another one was like Nancy is in college and she's at like a weekend getaway and the power goes out and like it's a funeral home next door.
Okay.
But yeah, so they were just really fun little point and click puzzle games with a little mystery to solve. And when we get later in my list, it was just priming me for more mystery solving games.
Sure.
But I love them. They were near and dear to my heart. I kind of can't wait for them to come back in my life again.
Nancy Drew. All right.
Yeah,
I knew that was a thing outside of the games, but I also knew about the games, so it's good.
They are good. There's a reason that they're still making them. I'm just gonna say.
I'm sure. I never played any, but I never got into point and click.
I don't think you're the target audience.
No. But I don't know. When I was a kid, I tried so many different games. Even like, I didn't try like Barbie games, but I would try quote unquote girly games at times. Like,
Nancy Drew was kind of girly, but it was not a girly game. Like it didn't. I remember when they came out, they just had like colors that kind of themed the boxes, but they weren't like bright pastels or anything. Like one was red and one was a dark green, and
yeah, I remember seeing them on the shelves. I really do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Ace, your number 3 licensed game.
Can I actually have you go first?
Sure. We'll go counterclockwise. So mine comes from this little known IP that started as a movie and became, well, no, it's not little known. Star Wars Rogue Squadron. So Rogue Squadron was like huge for me in gosh, what was it, like the 5th grade, 3rd, whatever it was. So this is like right before episode 1 came out that I remember playing this. And like the biggest thing about for me in Star Wars is always the ships, right? I am not like a big like space guy or that kind of thing, but I really loved stuff like the X-Wings, the Y-Wings, the A-Wings, like all the letter wings, and of course the AT-ATs, the AT-STs, all of the TIE fighters and everything. I was super into it. Rogue Squadron, you literally play missions as the rogue, like the rogue rebel force, and you play an X-Wing squadron that is going around the planets, fighting for the Alliance in various situations. And the very first mission, you are tasked with destroying a bunch of probe spy droids. If you remember in episode 2, the one they kill that's like and has like all the little arms hanging down, and like they're just like flying around, and you just had to shoot them, and then you got an achievement if you shot a Womp Rat, because that was a thing in the movies. So like it was really just up my alley in the day. I have since tried to go back and play that game because it's on Good Old Games. I hate it. I really do. The controls are so god awful, but when you're a kid and that N64 is there and you're holding 2 of the 3 sticks, like you don't care how bad it plays because it's Rogue Squadron. Like if they like did a modernized remake of Rogue Squadron, I'd be down 100%. Just update the graphics and update the controls, because it was one of the problems I had is that it was forced inverted controls, and I know. If you're flying an airplane, it makes sense to have inverted controls. Ace, you had a whole thing about it, but
Yeah.
I can't do it. Up is up, down is down. That is the way my brain works. I can...
Correct. You are correct.
Like, I press up to go up. I press down to go down. I understand that I'm pulling up on a joystick, and then the joystick makes sense. I get where you're coming from on that, Ace, but this isn't a joystick. This is a controller.
Yep. Also, I'm not a pilot, so.
Right. I would totally crash and burn if I was a real pilot. Just saying. But I am a good driver. I do have that going for me.
Of course, I'm an excellent driver.
Hey, I've only ever been in one car wreck because I fell asleep behind the wheel in college.
Ooh.
Jeez.
It was just that one time.
It was nothing. I was getting like 3 hours of sleep every day. Like, it was fine. It was, I just go to school, leave school to come home for 5 minutes to eat ramen, to go to work at Bob Evans, and then come home and go to bed after doing a bunch of homework, and then get up at 6 a.m. and then drive myself and my cousin to college again. And then, she would sleep in the passenger seat while I would try to stay awake. Oh boy, those were the days. But yeah, I did fall asleep behind the wheel. Actually, it's her teacher I crashed into. That was fun.
All right then.
Yeah. His car didn't get hardly a scratch on it. My car looked like a pop can. Just
All right then.
so yeah, Rogue Squadron. I don't know if a lot of people played it. It was an N64 game. The series did not survive that long. But of course, Star Wars. Of course, there's so many Star Wars games. In fact, I was really considering. I didn't do it, but I was really going to put Battlefront 2 again. The Battlefront 2 because we've had 2 Battlefront 2s.
Battlefront.
Yeah.
You mean the
Yes.
original one?
Yes.
No. I was
Not
going to
the-
put no. As the dishonorable mention, I was going to put
Oh.
Battlefront 2, and then yeah, I actually originally also had Battlefront the original on my list, the original Battlefront 2. It's hard to say. That's very confusing. I don't find better names for your games, people. Jeez.
OG Battlefront, EA Battlefront.
There you go. That's good. OG Battlefront. Of course, EA is the one that screwed it up. Of course, it was. All right. So, Ace, did you get your number 3?
Yeah. So I realized that I completely misunderstood
Oh,
what the thing was, because when I asked, I was like, so wait, games in other media? Like, actually in the media. Like,
Oh no!
it's a game that exists in the media. And I was like, okay, I can work with that. I got some.
Interesting.
And then, like,
Interesting take.
as
No.
as you said, licensed games, I was like, wait a minute. And then you said, like, Harry Potter, and I was like, oh. My brain completely shat the bed on that one.
So you just like cross fix it Felix off the list.
So like what?
No, I actually had. Go ahead.
What? I don't even like. You're talking like a game that you like saw in a movie, like games you want to like the fake games they come up with in a movie.
Yeah, so
or something?
two actually come from the same TV show, Black Mirror.
Oh no.
One of them is
No.
the
I've
VR
I've
slash
seen that
adaptive
episode.
horror game.
Yeah, I've seen that
And
one.
then-
No, 100% no.
No, not Bandersnatch. In the actual like main show, there's a I think it's like technically like a prequel to the USS Callister episode.
Yeah.
So it's like what do they call it? I think they call it the Acorn or something like that. It's the little like nub that you put on your temple, and it puts you into like the virtual space. So they have like an adaptive horror game in that, where like it taps into your
I remember.
subconscious and starts manipulating the environment to scare you. And then I was also going to say the final whatever space game they have in the Callister episode, minus the USS Callister mod, because the idea of trapping AI copies of actual people and just torturing them for your own comeuppance on them, kind of really wrong.
Oh, you mean like
So I
how
at least
most
had
people
those
play
two.
The Sims?
Yeah. So
I like how
break-fixing.
Sasha had quite a political face on there for a second
What?
when I said that about The Sims.
Oh,
I do that in The Sims. It's just not people I know, but
Sure.
I do torture my Sims.
Yeah. No, I think I
So-
told you about that. My friend would actually make us in the game and torture us. Like, I was like, oh yeah, Cham, I killed you today by setting you on fire by trapping you in the room with a fireplace. Like, oh great, thanks, bud. Mm-hmm.
neat, wonderful. So number 3, I will just sort of lump them all together. The Batman Arkham series.
Sure. Okay, I've only played Asylum. I've never played any of the other ones.
Yeah, I have played City, Origins, and some of Night, and watched the entire playthrough of Night.
Okay.
Pretty solid series. I enjoy it a lot,
Mhm.
and
Did
The
you play the
combat's always
first
fun.
one, Arkham Asylum?
no, but I've watched Jack and Andrea play it, and
That's
I've
like the
watched
best one
playthroughs
then.
and stuff.
I
I don't know. I like
I've,
City a lot.
I played it. I heard a lot of people like City more, although Asylum had the very weird ending with Hulk Joker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes it did.
I've played some of Arkham Knight. I think they could have maybe used a little less of the bat tank, or maybe introduce like actually using like the Batwing and like the Bat Pod and other vehicles like that, just to
Mm-hmm.
mix it up so you're not always just bat tanking it all over the place. Um,
I
plus,
think
like,
I think games really, not games, but I would say game companies and designers really went too far on the open world stuff, and I feel like that's why I was really uninterested in later Asylum games. I was like, I don't want
Mhm.
another open world. I don't need a Batman open world. I really don't.
well, plus at least I'm pretty sure I've told you this story before, but like with how Jack and assumedly other people play the game, driving around with the bat tank completely like
Murdering everyone.
dispels the notion of Batman not killing people when you're flying down the road and you run into people. I mean, sure they get electrically shocked, but like you're still hitting them at like 30 to 60 miles per hour. Uh, and then
Which will still kill you.
going back over the fact of Jack just slowly going into the tank crawler mode and then just slowly rolling over their limp bodies with the tank. And I'm just like, what are you doing?
He's being a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just running over the civilians, Dad. It's nothing wrong there.
Mm. I do also, despite it being like the black sheep and being despised by a lot of people, I really enjoyed Arkham Origins.
That's the one with Deathstroke, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the cooler villains, and I wish they had more included him in
The game.
Night, because from what I remember, in Night he's only in a tank that you fight. You don't actually like melee combat him at all,
Mm.
from what I remember of seeing of it. Plus,
Mm.
like Troy Baker does a pretty good Joker as well.
Of course. Although they should have got Mark Hamill, if they could have. I mean, he's the Joker. He's as much the Joker as he is Luke Skywalker.
Oh yeah.
He is in the first one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Good old Hulk Joker. That's such a weird thing. Yeah, I remember that fight. Okay, cool. So Arkham Asylum, not Asylum, Arkham series, I should say, Arkham series.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So Sasha, we're gonna move to your number 2.
So my number 2 was Batman Arkham Asylum.
Yeah. Take that, Ace. The better Batman.
So I will say, the reason I like this one is because it really embraces the world's greatest detective bit
Sure.
of Batman, which I don't think previous Batman games did. And it felt really cool to thoroughly investigate Arkham Asylum, which is the coolest Batman setting.
I will say there is. Did you ever play the Telltale Batman? Because that one you are certainly a detective. Like that one,
yes,
you do very much detective work most of the time.
You do. It's that one. You get the really angry, frustrating feeling of being castrated by Amanda Waller, though, and that really kind of like ruins it for me. So,
What?
Not like literally castrated. She just like has Batman by the cojones, and she knows that he's Bruce Wayne, and she's forcing him to do stuff he doesn't want to do. So
Oh yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
just like a really thoroughly unpleasant experience for me.
Sure.
So, but Batman Arkham Asylum, it was really cool. I loved that game. It was like, I remember
Explosive gel.
it.
That was my favorite thing.
Yeah. Oh yes, the explosive gel was cool.
Mhm.
I remember that it was the first time I actually like gave a real like effort to stealth games, and
Oh yeah.
like, because you cannot beat that game by brute forcing through it. You have to be smart. You have to use all your equipment correctly, and
Okay.
like, yeah, you can mess up with like one guard or two, but
Have you ever played? They're a little more forgiving nowadays. But you ever played the Oddworld series?
no.
That was a wonderful stealth game. Wonderful 2D stealth game. I think you would possibly. I don't like stealth games normally, but it had comedy in it. So you could like distract a guard with a fart. There's an actual button for a fart, and it's hilarious. And then in the second game, you had this. So you could always possess things with this chant. So you'd like possess an enemy to sort of get them out of the way or stuff, or do stuff with them. In the second game, there was a specific sequence where you could possess your own fart if it was bad
That's
enough.
pretty funny.
All right then.
Sorry, it just reminded me of that. You said stealth games. I was like, Oddworld. Because that's, I don't know. To me, that's my favorite stealth game.
I remember the Mr. Freeze fight, or not really fight. I guess it was a fight, but like it's a stealth boss fight. Like,
Yeah.
you have to sneak that being really difficult for me because I don't like to do stealth. So
Yeah, you just want to go in guns a-blazing or fists
yeah,
a-blazing.
so that game kind of broke me of that being my only approach of beating a game.
Mm-hmm.
But because I wanted to like get to the next part and solve the mystery, and I liked all the Riddler stuff. I thought that was really cool as well.
Yeah.
I just thought Arkham Asylum was like a chef's kiss, and I didn't really enjoy any of the other ones as much as that one. I gave the second game an honest shot, and it just didn't have the same glamour for me as exploring Arkham Asylum did.
Second game also has some very confusing topography, and then also way too many damn Riddler trophies.
Yeah.
Far too many.
I've heard.
I don't even think I beat the second game.
Yeah. I mean, I never even played it. I heard it was open world, and I'm like, nope, I'm out. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done. Yeah, and to me, it was always a quality drop when something went open world, and I was just not into it. Every time, I can't think of a game that was bettered by it being open world until Breath of the Wild. Like, that was it for me. So yeah, so Arkham Asylum. I said it wrong with Ace, but I was right for Sasha's. So, all right. So my second one, Lord of the Rings: Shadow of Mordor, which takes place in a not canon, an alternate timeline of Lord of the Rings, where Celebrimbor, who forged the Great Rings of Power, helps out a Mordor soldier after Mordor gets taken over from the humans for the evil's forces. So it takes place, before The Hobbit and all that. And you just play as, I don't remember his name, but you play as a dude who's a human captain, and Celebrimbor is your elf ghost that possesses you.
You're the dude.
And he has a name, I just don't remember it.
Okay, but that would be the funniest mod ever.
Dude.
To play that as the dude.
The dude.
Like,
Yeah.
I hate the Eagles, man.
Oh man.
Where's the ring, Lebowski?
I've never seen that movie. I own it now, but I have never seen it. I recently
Classic.
purchased. I know, and I really love a lot of memes from it, but I just I just need to take time to watch it. But um so yeah, so Shadow of Mordor is a sort of like video game fan fiction of Lord of the Rings where you go around and you kill orcs. But it has this really awesome nemesis system where the orcs have their own like hierarchy and their own bosses and stuff. And when you kill a boss, it's possible people could be promoted into that position or that position's open in the army or whatnot. And
Hmm.
you sort of mess with the ranks of their army, and the different like orcs have like different fears and different weaknesses and strengths and stuff. So like you'll have an orc that is like, I can't be backstabbed, so you can't just like backstab him, you gotta fight him face to face. Or like you have one that's like, no, like flipping over me doesn't work, and it's something like eagle eye or some trait or something like that. And there's like sometimes you'll get so much like immunities and ridiculousness that like the only way that you can kill them, it's like immune to physical damage, immune to range damage, immune to backstabs. And you're like, what do I even do? And it's like weakness, flies. And you're like, huh? And you'll see a nest of flies and you shoot an arrow and it drops on them. Suddenly they're weak to everything because they're terrified. And you just stab them while they're scared of flies. Like it was such a cool
I mean,
system and a cool game.
I've also seen the clips of people having all the underlings of like a boss room or whatever just being spies.
Yes.
So like
So
the second they engage with you, just all the henchmen turn on the boss and just kill the boss.
yeah. So so you could one of the mechanics is instead of eliminating a person in the army, you can mark someone, and they would sort of become your slave or part of your side secretly. And then like what you said, you go to confront someone, and it's like, hey, I'm gonna kill you, and this is like, nope. I think my buddy's got it, and you could literally walk away, and all the other orcs would just jump him and kill him, and then like they would promote one of their own inside guys to be that leader.
Mhm.
It was really fun and like really interesting. Unfortunately, I think Shadow of War didn't do enough with the system to sort of keep it. Well, let's say that they did too much with the system to they muddied it up a bit. I liked how the first one did it, Shadow of Mordor, where it was a little more simple. They didn't try to go as ambitious with it, and it worked better. Because then you'd get
Yeah.
like you could customize your orcs in the second one, and there was microtransactions tied to those sometimes, and it was like really bad. But what are you gonna do? Like, it's just what it was at the time. So, anyways,
Yeah.
Shadow of Mordor. It's a really great game. It's on It's on everything. You can still play it. You can still go kill orcs. It's really fun, and it's a nice little side story, Lord of the Rings. And you get Gollum to help you, of course, because if everyone wants a reoccurring character in all the Lord of the Rings, it's Gollum for some reason.
Yeah, I mean there's a Lord of the Rings Gollum game that's supposed to come out sometime in the future, and I'm vaguely interested in it because it's centered around him.
Yeah,
You play as him.
I do
but,
want to
like,
play it eventually.
I don't know when that's releasing.
Yeah, I don't know. I was supposed to be last year, but I don't know what happened.
I think I got delayed, so
All right. So Ace, your second one.
my second is going to be the Star Wars Attack of the Clones game for Xbox. So this was like its own standalone game
Uh-huh.
where it was. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. It takes place, I think, during the Geonosis battle,
Okay.
and then continues into the Clone Wars after that. A lot of different vehicles that you get to play with. You get to do the Republic tanks. You get to go on speeders.
Mhm.
You get some walkers, I think, too. Then there's You get to fly those gunships, the clone gunships too.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty fun game, all
Okay.
things considered. I'd never got to play the console versions of Battlefront or Battlefront 2, the original ones, so that was the closest I've gotten currently, and I had a lot of fun with that game.
Beware ... That's all I can say about the original Battlefronts. Beware ... It was always a person named ... And it was just a thing. People would name themselves just a bunch of dots, and they would be team killers. They would just steal all the airships and kill their own team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't know. So I may have seen that game, but I never played it for some reason. I was a huge Star Wars fan at the time too. No idea.
I could say I also enjoyed because it was with the PSP that I got the Battlefront Renegade Squadron.
Yeah, I
It was
heard about
the
that.
PSP version, and they had the white version with the black printed Vader on the battery cover
Yes,
for the PSP.
that was my brother's PSP. My brother had that
Mhm.
PSP, and
Yeah,
we
also
used
pretty
it to
fun
play
game.
Monster Hunter. Like I had
Mhm.
my own PSP, but he had his, and that's all we played on it was Monster Hunter. I think he might have played the Star Wars game on his own that it came with, but no, it was just mostly Monster Hunter.
Yeah, but yeah, I enjoyed that. It was also the pack-in game. It was a 2 pack-in game that came with the Xbox. It also came with Tetris,
Mm.
a Tetris game, which I never played.
You never played Tetris until then?
No, like I never played that game. I played it maybe once or twice, but I was like, I like Star Wars better.
Sure.
I'm only gonna play Star Wars.
Fair. Yeah. Okay. So Sasha, I guess we're gonna lead with the dishonorable mention.
All right. So, in the thick of my achievement hunting, I played a lot of shitty games.
Sure.
And one that I played that I did get, I did get all 1,000 gamer score in it, so it wasn't broken, but it did have some busted controls, and I almost didn't make it through. And the game is Lost, and it was from the show Lost,
Yeah.
and it has I don't even know how to describe this game. It's like you talk to all the characters, and they had a handful of the actual actors voicing them, but none of the main ones. It was
The cheaper ones.
yeah, a lot of the cheaper ones, and then they just had really poor voice actors covering all the the main ones. Like Matthew Fox and Evangeline Lilly, and it's just not them at all.
Okay.
Anyway,
Wow.
it's set sometime I think between season 2 and 3. So they haven't found that camp, that compound. They haven't found any of that stuff. They're still mostly on the wreck, and they're doing camps by the beach. And you're just finding things for people, solving little tiny, it's almost just like a little walking simulator. But then the last 2 chapters, you find a gun, and John Locke goes all crazy on you, and you have this last scene where you need to shoot John Locke, but it's a timed event, but there's nothing, no timed thing letting you know when to start, when your time is up, and you just keep dying over and over and over again. And then you have to re-walk through the whole level to get to the end to hope that you lift your gun up in slow motion to shoot John Locke before he shoots you. And that almost broke me. It almost broke me.
Oh boy.
But I was gonna get those achievements, I was going to get all of them. So
Okay.
I made it through.
Wow. Yeah, me getting a 360 back in the day is what caused me to become somewhat of an achievement hunter on PlayStation later on. Like, I just... Yeah, they made those achievements very, very enticing on games.
Yeah. I learned that I'll put myself through a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. I mean, how many hours did I put in Monster Hunter just for those badges? Like 1,200, I think is what it's at. 1,200.
Yeah, it's too
for
bad
Sunbreak.
Nintendo doesn't have a trophy or achievement system like PlayStation or Xbox.
We've been talking about it since the 3DS of them doing it, and or since the Wii, I think. Like, I don't know. Monster Hunter has always had achievements, though. Keep that in mind, Sasha. Always, since the first one.
Yeah, so does WoW. So does The Sims.
Hey, no, WoW added them afterwards. They didn't start with achievements.
Maybe Nintendo's achievements are the cop-out answer. The achievements were the friends we made along the way.
I don't know about you, but I'm super looking forward to that Mario movie. My girls ask me when it's coming out all the time.
I am going to take Ripley to go see it.
So, I'm going to do my dishonorable mention, but I realize that I have entirely screwed up my list.
Oh.
Ooh.
I would take Rogue Squadron off and move everything down because I do have a number one. But I will talk about my number one as if it never happened, and then I will say what I think should actually be my number one at the time. But I will stick with my dishonorable mention right now. I'm just going to preface, I forgot about a game that I really loved, and it would have been number one. But anyways, so my dishonorable mention, I think this is actually my year dishonorable mention for the show when we did the Game of the Year stuff. So Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. It might not have been. It might have been my brother's. We talked about it with the Harry Potter stuff. I was super into the R.A. Salvatore series. This is based on R.A. Salvatore's characters. You know, the Companions of the Hall, Drizzt, Canterbury, Wolfgar, Brunner, and Regis. D&D Dark Alliance is an okay game. Really not that bad. It's just like menial. I'm putting a dishonorable mention for the same reason that I complain about it every time. They're called the 5 Companions of the Hall. You can only play as 4 of them. Because apparently, Regis the Halfling is not worth it. Someone decided that you shouldn't play as Regis. Now, to be fair, he's not a warrior at this point in the series. He's a overweight halfling who is a thief who gets into a lot of trouble that his fans had to bail him out at this part of the series.
So is he in the game?
No.
You just can't play as him?
He's not even in the game. The only mention of him is there's a merchant at the hub world that says, "Hey, my buddy Regis sent me." And I'm like, why weren't you just Regis? You know, the thief who could have stole the provisions to help with people. Or had the charm that would charm people into helping. No. You had to make up some stupid-ass character who says, "I was sent here by Regis." As the very first thing. I was so mad. At the same time that this game came out and I was playing it, they released a D&D Magic set for Magic the Gathering. I was super not into Magic for a long time, and I'm still not really, even though I still have a deck and it's sitting right there. I can see it. But they had the Companions of the Hall in this Magic set. All 5 except for Regis. Regis is not in the cards. They didn't make a Regis. They made a Brunner, a Canterbury, a Drizzt, and a Wolfgar. They made no Regis. There's something
this is
about
Regis erasure.
It is. Is it because he's short? Is it because he's a halfling? Like, I don't understand. Like, what is going on? So, D&D Dark Alliance is just like a boring, mediocre game. It's just dishonorable, and it makes me mad because they discluded Regis, and Regis is one of my. Let me say partially why it's so aggravating to me that they don't have Regis. Not only because he's the fifth member of this group, right? It is very clear a lot of the plot lines center around him because he's a character, and the main character in the series is Dritz, but that's also his friends, right? They're they're like I would call it secondary characters. Then you have tertiary, so on, right? He has such a cool arc in the books because there's a point in the series in which they all die because the series takes so long that it spans hundreds of years and no one lives that long, right? They all die of old age because of some god trickery and whatnot. They get reincarnated. Regis gets reincarnated and he comes back as the biggest badass that ever badassed. I'm not even kidding. He's like the whole leader of a thieves guild, and he's like running this night. Then he like leaves that and joins this crazy halfling knight group called the Prancing Ponies, and there are a bunch of like halfling knights that ride on ponies, and it's just he goes by the name of Spider Paraffin, and he has like a rapier that has like snakes that come off of it and like bite people. It's just he's so cool of a character later on, and they just forgot him. I'm just like, he's like a half like a short Flynn Rider from Rapunzel when he's reincarnated. Like he's like a super dashing debonair like schmoozer fighter guy. Like like it's just so I don't know. Screw you, Dark Alliance. You suck. All right, your dishonorable mention, Ace.
That is going to be The Walking Dead Survival Instinct. The
just
Yeti Xbox 360 PS3 title that they
Survival
got Norman Reedus
Instinct
and
as a title
Michael
sounds
Rooker for.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Completely squandered, I would say, their talents and their characters. Made a boring map travel game where you go from one location to the next to try and get to Atlanta, leading up to the events in the first season after the outbreak.
Okay.
And has pretty bad gunplay as far as the crossbow goes.
Oh,
I've mentioned it a bunch of times how you can literally just be in a horde of walkers and just shoot them and instantly take it back and reload with that same bolt and just shoot them, take it back, shoot them, take it back. Along with the goofy ass grappling thing where you have to like move the reticle into the center to stab them, but you can also like literally be surrounded by a horde of zombies and it's only that one attacking you and dealing damage to you. So they don't like swarm you and take you down. They just wait their turn to grapple with you, I guess.
Like an action movie where each guy comes in one at a time for them to fight him off.
Yeah. Only instead of making sense based on the space that's shown to you like in Old Boy, it's just really crappy gameplay. Where they're, I guess, polite zombies are like, oh wait, Greg's going, I'll let him have his turn first. Oh, Greg's dead. Okay, cool, my turn.
I'm next. Oh, I'm dead. Jeez. Yeah, that's pretty terrible. Oh boy. Okay, so what was it? Walking Dead Survival Instinct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow. I never even heard of that. But okay.
Yeah, it was like I think it was around season 2 or season 3, like when the show was becoming popular and stuff,
Right.
that came out. And like obviously it's based the whole entire property is based off the graphic novels, but
Yeah.
like that's not how you should do a game around The Walking Dead.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, Sasha, so let's lead it off with your number one licensed game.
So, keeping with my theme of detectiving and all of that, I'm gonna lump together two, but mostly leaning heavy on the Law and Order games, which are so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I
which I also was probably playing at way too early of an age. I remember my first one being in middle school, and I remember that I solved the crime, but I did not do it correctly, and I got evidence incorrectly, and I failed the case, like as the law or in the order part. So when I was the lawyer, I couldn't use some of my evidence, and I wasn't able to enforce the law. So,
Oh.
um, the Law and Order games are definitely superior to what I'm lumping together is the CSI games, which are
Okay.
also really fun, but you only get to solve the crime,
Sure.
and then you don't get to do the second half. What makes the Law and Order games so much better is it is actually like two whole games. It's like CSI and Ace Attorney combined together. And if
Mhm.
you fuck up doing your case research, you will not be able to win the court case. So, which is just like in the Ace Attorney, I think too. If you mess up, you don't.
Yeah.
You go in unprepared. So,
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ace Attorney's a bit weird because there's not really a branching path. There is a right answer, but you'll just get like a nope, that's not the right answer. Try something else. Like you, it's a little more
I
forgiving in Ace Attorney, I think. But
well, so in the Law and Order games, if you're not like figuring it out correctly, you just get stuck. So like you get to a point where like no one's telling you where to go. You've got some evidence that you can examine in certain ways or send off to certain labs.
yeah,
You've got different locations you can go back and revisit, people you can go back and talk to. But if you haven't unlocked certain parts, you can't like interrogate somebody in a certain way, or you can't pair certain evidence, tie evidence together. So you just get stuck. And this was back before, like you could just look up on the internet how to do it. So this is me like as a child playing this game, trying to figure it out. And I remember that I think that there were 2 games and each one had 5 cases in it. And they were all like their own episode of Law and Order. And then after you solved the crime, you had to take them to court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which
That's
was the
cool.
second game. And that was always way harder because I didn't understand any of that stuff they were talking about. Like,
yeah. Legal stuff is not fun. Holy cow.
no, and it was hard. But I can't really imagine playing it.
I can't imagine all the stuff I have to go through criminal court. I was in civilian court last year, and that was rough. Like, just the amount of things I had to deal with. Ugh, jeez. So, okay. Law and Order, and then also CSI.
Yeah. Now, the CSI games are fun. I'm going to say that the CSI Miami ones were the best because it did have the actual actors in it, and it was as campy and trashy as CSI Miami is. So, real treasure there.
That checks out. All right. That's where we get the yeah from, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So my number one should have been, and I'll just say this, I talked a lot about it in the Game of the Year show. Starship Troopers. It should have been Starship Troopers. I forgot.
That's what I was expecting from you.
No, that would be my real number one, but I forgot to write it down. I've already talked crap about the Starship Troopers game. If you as a listener want to hear about it, go to our Game of the Year episode. Just a few episodes back. We're only in February. like it's not that far long ago. I loved that game. Great RTS. I'm just going to talk about the one I originally wrote down because I don't know why I forgot about Starship Troopers. But I will talk about a game I've talked about a few times, but I still love it, is the Lord of the Rings The Third Age that I played on GameCube. And it's also on PS2. And it's the Lord of the Rings JRPG where you play as, I will say, the B team. You do have a human ranger. You do have an elven archer. And you do have a dwarven fighter. And you do have halflings. They are not the ones from the books or the movies. They're just like knockoffs, but it's fun nonetheless. You basically play as alternate forces on the same sides. So like you are sort of like paralleling your journey to sort of like defeat Mordor while they're carrying the ring. I guess your distraction is some of the story, but it works like a JRPG. You get into a random battle, you take turns hitting each other, and it's got really cool, like, you fight the different goblins and orcs and trolls and stuff. And it's a really cool thing. And then you get to the end, and your final boss is the literal eye on top of the Tower of Sauron. You are fighting the eye, like some sort of Final Fantasy fight. And it is awesome and hilarious at the same time. And then this is where this is where the game blew my mind. You then say, start a new campaign, start on the dark side. So I got to play a team of what was an orc Knoll Rider, an orc warrior, an Uruk-hai warrior, and a troll bard who had giant bongos that would buff my team. And it was hilarious. I loved every minute of the evil campaign. And you just go around and you just kill all the sides of good. And you just just a path of destruction. And it's hilarious.
I hated that. And there's a DLC in Dragon Age Origins called Darkspawn Chronicles, and you play as the Darkspawn, and in the final fight you defend the Archdemon and you kill the Grey Warden and Alistair and Morrigan and Liliana, and I'm like, I love all of these people. Like, I can't do this.
There's no named characters at all in this. Like, Sauron, the Eye of Sauron is like the most famous character you're going to see. You never even see Gandalf or Frodo or anybody. It's like they had the license for Lord of the Rings and that's it. Nothing else. You are allowed to set the game in the same timeline, but none of the people. And it was like, it's so weird, but I loved it. It was so fun. The
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern of the Lord of the Rings franchise.
Yes, and it's still amazing. It's one of the games that I packed away. Yeah, I don't have a GameCube anymore, and I don't have a way to play it, but I still own that game. It is amazing. But yeah, my real answer should have been Starship Troopers, and I would have knocked off Rogue Squadron because, yeah, I forgot about Starship Troopers, and how could I? So, Ace, your number one license game.
That's gonna be the Telltale Walking Dead series.
Oh, so good, so sad, but so good.
Very good series that starts off with a bang, with you playing as Lee, and then ultimately
and it only gets lower from there.
Sacrificing yourself, and then you get to progress as Clementine, and then you get to see some friends come back and go crazy. Yeah. And then you continue with those lessons.
Season 2 hurts.
I take it Leo comes back as a zombie.
No.
Kenny comes back as a character. And then after the events of the first game, he has a second family, and then he doesn't.
Because zombie apocalypse. I got it. Okay. I never played him. The only Telltale game I ever played was Batman.
You should give it a shot. Plus, they have the complete series as a purchasable option, so you don't have to go and get each season individually.
He's biased against zombies. He's not going to enjoy it.
I really don't like zombies because all it is just people arguing and getting at each other. The zombies are not a real. It's just they're always like zombies, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, yeah. Have you heard my advice of my girls who are afraid of zombies? What to do with zombies?
I don't think so.
You just walk away because they're just rotting corpses. You're faster. Just walk away.
Yeah, unless if they're World War Z or Last of Us.
Those aren't zombies.
Yeah, they're not. They're infected.
They're
And the
different.
Z word is banned on the set.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is in The Walking Dead as well. Walkers,
Yeah, they're
fighters,
walkers.
workers, lame brains,
Lame brains.
deadheads. I think I've heard that once or twice. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because
Wasted.
a zombie was a actual like defined thing in voodoo, and then it got popularized as what we see today in media, and then yeah. I hate zombies so much.
Have you played the Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale?
No, I have not.
I have not.
That one's pretty good.
I heard it's a good.
There's
things
a
about that.
really emotional Rocket one in there, as I love Rocket Raccoon, but
Oh, of
there's like
course,
an
yeah.
origin
Seems
Rocket
like-
story in there.
Oh,
It seems
no.
like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to have a very emotional rocket storyline.
I was fully prepared for Rocket to not make it through Endgame, so
Mm.
I've
It
already
seems
like
like they're-
emotionally prepared myself for it.
It seems like they're queuing him up to die, and people are theorizing that based on the colors
Mm.
of like the theming with it.
I mean,
Because
there's like
the first
there's-
one was green with Groot, and then the second was blue with Yondu. So I think it was what their theming is, like orange or whatever, orange and black with Rocket on this one for the marketing, something like that.
I mean, they already lost. What was her name? The assassin.
Gamora?
Gamora. Yeah, Gamora.
Now she's back, quote unquote. She's back.
other Gamora.
Yeah,
What? I don't-
Bizarro Gamora. Did you not see?
She just
No.
doesn't have her good goatee, so you can't tell. But
No.
In Endgame, you haven't seen Endgame?
Yeah, I saw Endgame.
Yeah, because they
Oh.
went to 2014, but it was a different universe 2014. And then when Thanos came back, that Gamora came with too. And then she also turned on Thanos and split off and dipped from the battle and everyone.
remember the whole part where Chris Pratt's like, "Oh," and she punches him in the face. Like, I don't know you.
No, she kicks him in the dick, isn't it?
Yeah, whatever. But she's like, "I don't know you," and he's all like hard eyes and.
Yeah.
No, I do not.
You missed it. You missed him the first time, and you nailed them both the second time. That line? You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember that at all, dude. I saw. So my recollection of Marvel movies has gone out the window. Today, my parents went to go see.
Fair enough.
Today my parents went to go see the new Ant-Man, and my brother and I have been talking about going to see it, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to come with us?" And we were both like, "Nah." Nah. Well, I was busy working on
Nah.
packing stuff, which is part of the reason. But the other part, I was just like, I don't care about Marvel anymore. I put so much investment in the Endgame, and the Endgame happened. I was like, all done except for Spider-Man. I still watch Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, I guess there's Bizarro Gamora. Okay. I just don't remember. I don't remember that part of it. I was so focused on, the core of like the time travel stuff with Ant-Man and.
I feel
Mhm.
like they really just swept the whole Bizarro Gamora thing under the rug because, well, how did we get a whole like season of Loki? Like
Mhm.
Loki messing up the timeline he because of what he did with the Infinity Stone. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand how him converging with another timeline is a problem, but Bizarro Gamora converging with another timeline is not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we'll see. Well, like the great timekeepers decide everything. Maybe that was apparently planned because the Avengers doing what they did to undo what Thanos did was apparently part of the plan, quote unquote.
Okay. I don't know, dude. I have no idea. Like
Which
I
But
said,
yes, we
leads into the larger conversation of people being like, Loki like makes everything in Marvel stupid and it doesn't work and nothing matters, and I'm like, it's all made up. Anything can happen. Nothing matters. What are
yeah.
you talking about? Did you not know that from the beginning?
I mean, there's a problem there, and we could have got into this with this being the topic with licensed products, but like, you want to take it as interpretation, the movies are a licensed product of the comics, right? So,
Right.
Hmm.
not that all the comics follow the same timeline, and you can't necessarily always just do page for page on the comics, but like, people are invested in those characters, and when they do something in the movies that is not in line with what they had hoped to see, they get mad. It happens. People do it with the Harry Potter stuff. Like, it's just,
That happens with any property, though.
All
yeah.
of it. Yeah.
And a part of me is just like, hey, they have to be different. What did you expect? But another part of me is like, like I talked several times, I'd love to see the Salvatore stuff made into movies, but like, if they do things a certain way, I'm out. Like, there's just not like you. It's a different story. Everything changes if you change certain things, and I
Although I will say the
I get that.
Last of Us TV show is knocking it out of the park.
Yeah,
They're doing very well.
I've heard there are differences, but I've heard that they're sensible differences.
They're improvements on certain things.
Yeah.
Um, there are some people that are, because of The Last of Us Part 2, they want sensible changes to what happened in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily agree with some of those specific takes because of, I don't know. I think those personal gripes are them not really acknowledging the characters and the uh, things that they went through in the first game and how they possibly would have changed going into the second game. But like, they've
Mhm.
made some pretty good changes with um, the TV show. Like they gave a like character to the people that you encounter in Pittsburgh, but instead of being in Pittsburgh, it's in Kansas City,
Mhm.
and they are people that rose up against Fedra, the government organization that was running things, and overthrew. But like, they're clearly flawed because their leader is just hell bent on revenge against Henry
The
because of
kindergarten
what he did.
teacher.
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
uh, they they did a hell of a good job with the bloater. The
Mhm.
bloater was really cool to see. I was
That
shitting
little
myself with
girl.
fear and excitement.
That little girl clicker was so sad and scary, like wearing her little Blue's Clues pajamas, and
She's apparently a actual acrobat or ballerina or whatever
I
it was,
saw that.
and that was pretty cool. Um,
Hmm.
I was like excited and panicked as the bloater charged against Pete or whatever his name is. It's the guy who plays basically the right hand to the leader of the Kansas City group. He's actually the voice actor for Tommy in the Last of Us games, who is Joel's brother. So it's kind of funny seeing Joel's brother trying to help hunt down and kill Joel and Ellie, and then he gets the bloater death from the video game, where it grabs into your mouth
That was
and it
cool.
fully rips off the top half of his skull. So
Dang. I don't think I ever
you
died
don't see
that
it
way.
close up. You don't see it close up, but you get enough of a sense of what happened, and I was just like, ooh, ooh.
See, that's
Sorry, guess you can't eat a granola bar for that.
that's the other thing that I don't that bothers me about zombie stuff. You know, I know that the Last of Us aren't zombies, but they're adjacent, right? Why is there always a giant fat one that attracts other ones in every zombie everything? Why?
It doesn't attract. It's just existing in the world. And plus, with how they have framed it in the TV show, it's pretty rare.
It looks like it was originally like a gym guy, like a gym rat, who he
Yeah.
got trapped in the sewers, and then he's bloated thick from being in water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because those infected were also underground.
Because they
In
were
Kansas
forced.
City
Fedra
for
forced them underground,
years.
right?
Yeah.
So
Plus,
it
like
mutated down there.
the actual actor that plays him is like a shredded British actor too.
That
Mhm.
checks out. Yeah.
So it was cool to see that, and like when you initially hear it, I was just giddy. I was like a little kid because you hear the sort of deep groan that the bloaters have, and I was just like, it's time, give me the big boy.
Right. And I say, like, I can see, like, you're excited because you really enjoy the source material, the games, and you love seeing that stuff appear in the movies. And that's why people get mad at Marvel.
Mm.
Because it's something they really loved, and then they fucked it up.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm mad at Harry Potter, because I really love basilisks, and they made a mistake.
Yeah. And the other divergence, or one of the other main changes, or whatever they called it specifically, from the game, the removal of the spores in favor of the tendrils, I would say does make sense and is acceptable, because like it's hard to, excuse away spores just being in the air and that they wouldn't have necessarily spread everywhere, being
Well,
airborne.
that, and you don't want to have the actors walk around with masks on their face the whole game or the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Mhm.
the whole point is it's Hollywood.
Yeah. Plus, it's also creature / body horror to have the fungus tendrils coming out of the mouth when they get close enough.
It did look cool.
Cool, freaky. The test kiss was unnerving. That was
Okay.
uncomfy.
I'm not sure. I'm not familiar enough with fungus to know if that is a viable reproductive method for fungus, but I don't know. It made sense for spores.
Well, there's a doctor that does YouTube stuff, and he talked about how the fungus wouldn't function that way either in the game or in the TV show, because with how that spreads and affects, it would probably just burn the hosts out too quickly. So I mean, suspension of disbelief.
No, there's real examples of it doing to ants, but like, or another insects, but I don't know. It's fantasy, anyways. I get what you're saying. It's just, it seems tendrils are not I've never heard of fungus having tendrils.
Yeah, they're sort of like weird wispy things that like latch into open wounds and spread the fungus that way.
Okay.
They also sort of hive mind communicate because they have tendrils that go into like the ground, and so like depending on, it's sort of like a whole like root system essentially. So the way they talked about it in the show is like you could like step on a stalk like a mile away and have a horde of infected come exactly to your location based off of that, which is what happens in the second episode.
Okay.
So it's an interesting change, and I think it works for the show.
Okay. I mean, that's one of the things that, you know, that I don't know if you enjoy it in Monster Hunter, but like the fantasy but believable, you know what I mean? Like they have rules to the universe, and there's like things, it's like they don't just spontaneously create their elements. They have like thunder sacs and wind sacs and, you know, organs that produce these things, and so it's kind of cool to get the explanation in the TV show. So I understand why that's entertaining. That's why I loved How to Train Your Dragon, because it was like, wait a second, they have a book on all these kinds of dragons. That is amazing. Like, yeah. Okay. So next week, Ace, you'll be picking. We will be tentative on whether I record or not, or we might have to take a week off depending if everything goes well. It is expected that I will have internet and I will be moved in.
I was gonna say you'll finally have solid internet.
Yes, I signed up for 500 megabits. It's
nice. Yeah, that's currently what we have, but I actually just upgraded ours the other day.
Yeah, we're at 200 here, and I'm sharing it with my parents and my brother, who all have phones that are on it, and all someone is watching Netflix right now, and I'm sure that someone is watching something upstairs, which are draining as much as possible. Of course, we're also trying to broadcast this on Twitch, which we have no dropped frames today, so that looks good according to my thingy. So yeah, so next week, Ace, you could be doing it, and I'll let people know if there won't be an episode. I should know pretty soon into the week if that's not gonna. Dude, this week's gonna be nuts. Like Tuesday,
maybe we can do my video games within media.
That's a tough one because I can't think of a lot, but I'll have to look. I will say, actually no, I know one. And it's going to be surprising, so I won't say it. But so Tuesday is signing day, and then right after signing, because it's weird, I've never heard of this, I can't pre-sign up for my water. Like, I can't pre-tell them to turn it on before I move in. Like, they want proof of ownership before I tell them to turn on the water.
Okay.
So I immediately have to, after the signing, take my agreement, go to the water place, and say, I own this house. Please turn on the water. And then I have to be there the next morning at like 9 a.m. And then throughout the whole week, I'm doing stuff, have to be at the house for some reason or something, some utility getting turned on or whatnot. And then moving in Thursday. So it's also happening. So
Mm-hmm.
supposedly everything's going to be fine. I don't remember what day I signed up for the internet to come in, but it's supposed to be delivered to the house. And then I set it up myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, what should be done by Friday all the way. I mean, should be sleeping there Thursday night as far as I know, because I'm moving my bed on moving day. Like, I'm not sleeping here if there's no bed. So, and
Yeah.
then Friday should be unpacking what I have, what I care to unpack, and Saturday should be set up. Like, I'm good. So I'll probably be playing not a lot of games next week because I may be packing it away in preparation and not able to unpack it quite yet. Or who knows?
Fair enough.
Maybe I'll wait until the last day and then pack it up that day and then hook it right up again when I move in. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So what? Possibly games in other media. You mean like games we would like to play depicted in other media? Fake games?
Yeah, I mean, I was also kind of joking. We don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
I can probably think of something else.
I can only think
Probably.
of one so far, so that I would enjoy. I think.
Mm. Yeah, and like as I was thinking of these two, I was like, I guess my dishonorable mention could be any video game that like includes checkers or chess or like board games within the game. That's just like a time waster or like a way to get money.
I just talked about how excited I was to play Solitaire on my computer. Like, was that on the show or was that before? I don't remember. I don't know. I love Solitaire for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for watching and listening, and we will catch you next week, hopefully from my perspective in a new place. I don't even know how the acoustics are going to work. I don't know. So, I don't even have the same desk. Like, I'm leaving this desk here. This is just like a desk I got from, it was my grandma's computer desk like ages ago. So, I have a new desk.
Just get a TV tray. Folding TV tray.
No, I have like an office, like L desk in an office.
Mm-hmm.
I got it from, there's my dad's work buddy / customer / person he knows sold his business for like a lot of money and is now getting rid of, like, they had like an office and everything, so like they were just getting rid of office furniture, and I got like an office L desk from them for free. So
Nice.
that's going to be my new setup, and I probably have an actual setup instead of, because like right now it's like monitor here and then there's one up to the right and there's one below that, so I've got this weird 3, like 2 stacked on top of each other and one off to the left. I'm probably going to do a 3, all in one line at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So one on the left, one in the middle, and one on the right, and then go from there.
Fair enough.
We'll see. I don't know. Not till I get there. But yeah, everything's got to go. Everything must go. So, so yeah, we'll just end it there. Thank you guys for watching and listening, and we'll catch you next week. Later.
Bye.
Bye.